This is the CAA number 3, Court Cases and Laws that Impact English Language Learners. Brown v. Board of Education, 1954. The case Brown v. Board of Education was brought to court in order to attempt desegregation of public schools. The judge ruled that separate but equal facilities were unconstitutional and violated the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment is basically anyone born or naturalized in the United States has rights of a citizen, equal protection under the law, and to be treated fairly. This case not only was a fight for desegregation of schools, it also helped English language learning students. Students should not have to be separate from general classrooms in order to better their English language learning experience. All students, especially minorities of the United States, deserve equal educational opportunities despite race or language barriers. This case gave and protected the rights of parents who wanted to create after-school and weekend language classes for their children so that their children can have a more beneficial educational experience. Lau v. Nichols, 1974, Chinese American students were emerged into general education classes even though there was a lack of English language understanding. The district tried to argue the fact that the Chinese American students were being treated equally, but just because they were given the same materials does not mean that those students who do not know English or know it well should be penalized for struggling with material being taught. This case led to the Lau remedies. Chinese Americans were able to gain access to resources for their educational needs. The Lau remedies. The Lau remedies were created by the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights. The purpose of the Lau remedies was to challenge schools who were not paying attention to English language learners' needs. The Lau remedies made English language learning programs mandatory. Under the Equal Education Opportunities Act of 1974, in Section 1703F, states that no state can deny educational opportunities no matter the student's race, color, sex, or nationality. Equal Educational Opportunities Act of 1974. Children who attend public schools have the right to equal educational opportunities no matter their race, color, sex, and nationality. Despite language barriers, schools are required to meet students' needs so that they have an opportunity to succeed in school. Castaneda v. Pickard, 1981. The court ruled that English language learning programs should be evaluated in 3 ways. And basically that's the Castaneda standards. English learning language programs should be based on sound education theory. Resources and personnel should be provided to help English language learners understand material. And the program should be monitored to see if the programs are beneficial and implemented effectively when it comes to language barriers. This case helps some ELL students by making sure programs are helping their English proficiency, but it can also hurt these students due to the evaluation taking time before ruling the programs beneficial or not. Learning a new language is a process that can't be forced. Gomez v. Illinois State Board of Education, 1987. The plaintiffs in this case felt that their children were not getting properly tested for language proficiency or getting equal opportunities for a rich educational experience from the schools their child attends. This is basically a violation of the Equal Education Act of 1974. The results were not in favor of bilingual education. The defendants asked to dismiss the case and families were forced to bring their case elsewhere. This case gave school districts the right to put restrictions on bilingual education. Proposition 227, English language in public schools, 1998. Placed restrictions on bilingual education in California. Proposition 227 was put in place to basically eliminate bilingual programs in California schools. Once a child has a decent understanding of English after a year, they are to be removed from special special classes, which are mainly taught in English, and put in general classes. The negative effect this proposition has on students is that learning a new language is a process and not every student learns at the same rate. This almost sounds like subtractive bilingualism, which is where the dominant language of a society takes over a native language. Bilingual programs are set in place to help students become proficient in both English and the native language, not to eliminate the native language. Flores versus Arizona, 2000. Parents of children enrolled in the Nogales School District felt that their children's needs were not being met. There was a lack in the development of English-speaking skills, instructional programs, and funding for those who are at risk, low income, and minorities. This also is a violation of the Equal Educational Opportunities Act of 1974. The school district was forced to create rules and policies that ensured proper testing for efficiency and making sure that academic materials and strategies are understandable and beneficial. Morales versus Tucson Unified School District, 2001. A family took this case to court because their daughter was pulled out of her bilingual class and was placed in an English-speaking immersion class. This violates the Equal Educational Opportunities Act of 1974 due to taking away her opportunities to become English proficient and leaving her to struggle with unmodified academic material. The court ruled that there be a waiver set in place that allows the family's daughter to return back to her bilingual class. Without the proper steps of helping English language learners, they are at risk to not succeed. ELLs and the Every Student Succeeds Act, 2015. This basically increases funding for bilingual programs and holds school districts accountable for the progress of their English language learners' English proficiency. This is a newer act and is still being figured out, but this seems to be a new and better way for bilingual programs to be put into schools that are way more proficient and beneficial to those who are English language learners.